I'm Bex, and I have no idea how to start a YouTube video. So I am going to say right off the top that I don't have a script. I don't even have like a prepared list of topics for this. And also, I have trouble making eye contact, even with a camera. So I will be looking away a lot and occasionally playing with a potato because I gotta be on brand, but also it's a fidget potato. So like, also it's really hot here and it shouldn't be. Like, I did not move out of Los Angeles just to have 90 and 100-degree weather somewhere else, but I might give in and tie my hair back at some point. But yeah, I am aware that not a lot of people care about this random book that I'm going to be self-publishing. At time of recording, I'm not even there yet. Like, it's still in the editing process, although it's out soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Hellbound just to have the story. This is going to be like my video diary of how this book came to be, because it's the only good book I've written, and I have written a lot. And that's not a brag, because the other books that I've written are trash and should be destroyed, like sent to the moon and blown up, kind of destroyed. So I want to have a video diary, but I also, because again, people don't know who I am and don't necessarily care about a self-published, I want to talk about the creative process. I was a creative writing teacher before I up and quit my job, and I think that more people are interested in the creative process than like my random book. So I have a green screen now, and I will use that to my advantage to the best of my ability. But let's start with the beginning. Hellbound is a young adult supernatural romance. That was what I was reading at the time. And although I strongly recommend that you don't do this, it was inspired by a dream. I was in college. It was my sophomore year at Syracuse University, and I went to take a nap between classes. I'm going to hold this cold potato to my face. Oh my God, that feels good. This potato came out of the fridge. So I sweat like a mother. Anyway. And I just decided to take like a 45-minute nap. I even remember I had a friend who wanted to like go somewhere with me, and like she was like, hey, can you take me to such and such place? And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to take a nap first. And during this nap, I had a dream that I was not in. And I don't know if this, like, let me know if this has happened to you, but this is the first time I've ever had a dream that I wasn't a character in. I was observing it. I wasn't actually in it. And there was this guy and this girl who were in love. Like, I just knew that as an observer who was not in this dream. They were in love with each other. And I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember this. They were lying together on a grassy hill underneath a tree that I then had to change for the final draft of this book because it looked exactly like the tree hill in Up at the very beginning when they like go to have a picnic together. It looked exactly like that, like a lone tree on top of a grassy hill in a park, like no other stuff in sight. And at the base of this hill was a copse of trees and bushes, very like thick and mysterious. And the two young lovers were like lying on the grass, like, I don't know, mooning at each other or whatever it is teenagers do. And it was all very pastoral and serene and whatever. And then out of the bushes and the copse of trees at the base of the hill, this guy, this like 50-ish year old man dressed all in white suit, white shirt, white tie, white shoes, and he had just some white hair around the crown of his head, like he was bald other than that, just pushes his way through this copse of trees out of nowhere. And he looks at the guy and he says, aren't you going to tell her what you really are? And then the dude and the old, okay, I can't say old, the older dude, the adult man, broke into a run. So we have the young dude, I'll call him Aiden because that's what I named him in the book, but like he didn't have a name that I remember from the dream. And he runs down the hill, the dude in white runs up the hill, and as soon as they get close to each other, they both burst out of their own flesh and turn into two gigantic dog-like creatures with bat wings. And Aiden, the boy, he turns into a red one, and the dude who was dressed all in white turns into a white one, and they had an epic battle that took place. I remember when they got close to each other, they like reared up and flapped their wings to help them like balance on their back two legs. Hind legs, some of us call them. And then they rocketed into the air and battled there. And then, I don't know, somehow it ended because this is a dream, right? The dude in white is gone. And the guy turns back into a human, and the girl looks at him and says, "What are you?" she's not running away screaming. Good for her. And this quick side note, I live under a rock, and I have always lived under a rock. So I think I maybe knew that Reddit existed, like the website Reddit, the app, but I had never been on it, and I wasn't even sure what it did. And so I had no idea that the term Redditor existed. Okay, very important. So she says, "What are you?" And the dude looks at her and goes, "I am a Redditor, the hero of hell." And then I woke up, and I was so angry. One, because I didn't need another book idea. Like, I was already working on other admittedly terrible novels. I didn't know they were terrible at the time. Maybe I did. Anyway, cold potato. It's not hot potato, it's cold potato. I'm in a closet. So it's hot in this closet. I'm going to probably tie my hair back. And on top of that, I was angry because, like, it ended before I could figure out what the hero of hell was. Like, my first question was, if you're hell's hero, are you a good guy or a bad guy? Because, like, hero means good guy, but, like, if you're hell's hero and hell is bad, does that make you a bad guy? And so I didn't know, and I decided to write a book about it. And I did a lot of pre-production stuff that you don't need to hear, in dining halls and whatever. And I'm going to tie my hair back. Okay, still need cold potato, but better. Sorry if potato takes makeup off. Where was I? So the creative process. Okay, breathe. This book kind of fell out of me pretty quickly. I decided that if he was the hero of hell, that he was a good guy, because honestly, I'd been considering this question a lot, of like, just kind of in an existential way. Like, there's so many religions in the world, and yet every single person who is devout, no matter the religion, is convinced that theirs is the religion. And even though they have an awareness that other beliefs exist, they are still convinced that theirs is the right one. Like, no exceptions, no alterations. And I had this idea, like, what if a lot of different religions and belief systems are right? Like, what if some people got some things right, but other people got other things right? And so I decided that hell in this case would be not hell like the Christian hell, but like a dimension. And I also was bothered by the fact that, like, bad people go to hell, good people go to heaven. Like, it was too black and white, basically, for my liking. And so I thought, what if when people die in this universe, their soul is split? And so whatever bad part of them exists goes to this hell dimension to be stored there. And whatever good part exists goes to the heaven dimension. And so, like, if you're a really good person, maybe, like, the bad part of your soul is, like, just this little wisp that goes down to hell. And if you're a bad person, same thing. Like, the good part of you is, like, like Hitler liked dogs, right? So, like, Hitler probably had, like, a pipette-sized droplet of a good soul that went to heaven, and the rest of him went to hell, right? And then I wanted to bring reincarnation into it, so, like, they get, when babies are born, a good and a bad soul are, like, mixed together at random and made into a new soul in this baby. Anyway, so that was kind of the backstory I made. And then eventually I learned that Redditor was a term for somebody who goes on Reddit, and I had to change it, so I decided to make it Redditor with a kind of, like, Latin influence. And basically, that translates to, like, king of hell, or king of the fortress, actually, but, and it's like their own language that's Latin based, but not, and it's not in use so much anymore. Anyway, so Aiden means fire. That's pro tip: go to babynames.com in an incognito window so that Google doesn't know that doesn't think you have, like, a million babies to name or whatever. And do an advanced search and, like, search for name meanings. And it's a fun way to narrow down how to name your characters. So I typed in fire, probably, because not many people name their kids after hell. And Aiden means fire, so I decided he was going to be Irish. And then I wanted, in as non-hipstery way as possible, to be ironic. And so I knew he was going to have a love interest, and so what I wanted was for her to be kind of heavenly, and so I wanted her to act like an angel, just so angelic and so beautiful and so perfect. And I named her Elysia, which is like heaven, but like the Elysian fields, so like Greek, but heaven, so like basically he's named fire and she's named heaven, right? But I hit a wall. I was writing this book, it was going pretty well, and I just it didn't work. And I realized it was because I remember the moment I was standing on I was standing at a bus stop at Syracuse, and it hit me that maybe if it wasn't working with Elysia being all angelic and perfect because I accidentally ended up with a Mary Sue, that maybe I should just go in the opposite direction. Make her a total misanthrope. Give her dyed hair and piercings and kind of like an I don't give a fig attitude. And the book just fell out of me from there. There's a couple things I want to talk about. One is feminism in a different video. And the other is things I had to change from 2010 to 2020 or 2021. Because there's a lot of things that I find that kind of fun. It's like a history, like a time capsule. Reading this book, the 2010 version, it's like a time capsule for sure. So I'll do a video on feminism and a video on things that needed to change. But basically the character who was super angelic became Nicolette, who is a main character. And it worked for her so well. I just kind of shifted those character traits. And I entered this book in the Amazon Breakthrough Novel Award in 2012. So obviously it took about 2 years to finish a version I liked. And it got pretty far. So there were 5,000 entries in the young adult category. And I made it to the last 50 before I was eliminated. So I made it to the semifinals. When they eliminated from the semifinals to the final 3, that's when I got cut. And it was devastating, but I've since learned that that award doesn't even exist anymore, so whatever. But I thought it was a good book. Anyway, yeah. So I want to vlog about this book and the creative process and the editing process. Sometimes I Twitch stream my writing, and I just want it to be kind of a way of remembering all that I've done. And if you don't know her already, I had a blog that I invented in college, and back when it was full of hubris, really. I still have hubris, but I'm a little more humble now. And so you might be seeing Mini Bex popping up around here somewhere. She's like a character that I invented of myself back in the day. So I also don't know how to end a YouTube video, but I think that's probably the extent of your attention span. So thanks for popping by, and the cover art of Hellbound should also be around, thanks to Greenscreen. That was done by Sofia. Sofia does the art for my brother's webcomic, I'm the Wizard and You're Not, and we connected that way, and she's done an amazing job, and I can't wait to see the finished product like on a book. And Hellbound will be coming out probably in the next month or two, and so look forward to that. You can find me on Twitter at BexGoose, Instagram at BexGoose. All the information is below. I have a podcast called Not Again that I do with my husband, and I'm Potato Lady Podcast Reviewer. This is the end of the YouTube video.